Hi everybody, I'm Trish Christ. In this episode of Our Nashville, NECAT and our super crew of teenagers spend some time with Fashion is for Everybody. Executive Director Alicia Sarcy and her team are going to show and tell us all the cool things they do in our community. You ready, Alicia?
I am.
You ready, super crew?
Yeah.
Let's make the show.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
We all know how to talk about our organization during meetings, but what about the chance encounter of a lifetime? You never know who may share your next elevator, notice your logo on a notebook or a tote bag, and ask what you do. What's the clearest, most persuasive thing you can say in a short elevator ride?
We challenge stereotypes and change lives for models of all ages, sizes, and physical abilities. And we do this by using photo shoots, a runway show, interviews. We have a clothing award. We're excited to work locally. We love the idea of fashion being accessible to every single person, and it will make them change the way they see themselves. I used to be, I still am to an extent, a fashion blogger in Nashville, an influencer. And I had a friend who invited me to her shop, and her shop ended up being inaccessible, and she didn't really realize that. So we worked together to change that, and we became friends. Her name is Crystal Ramos, and she used to own Pura Vida Vintage, and we became good friends. And she and I kind of had this idea that people should be able to access nice clothes. People should be able to wear things that make them feel good, no matter whether they're disabled or whether they're older or maybe plus-sized or whatever. And we kicked the idea around for a while. And then in January of 2016, David Bowie passed away. And for me personally, that was just a big wake-up call. It was just a real warning that tomorrow isn't promised to us. So I thought, we have to do this now. And we kind of cobbled together what I thought was going to be a big party show. And we had it at Abrasive Media, and people loved it. They said, okay, when's the next one?
You've done something now.
Yeah, because we used models up, in chairs, next to pro models, next to older models and plus-size models on the runway at the same time. And that had never been done before. So we thought, well, we really have something here. And we became a nonprofit mainly because of the unintended consequence of the show, which is this: the models changed how they felt about themselves.
I'm Jenny Leeds, and I've walked in the Fashion is for Everybody runway show for the past 2 years. I met Alicia and Clint, and they asked me to be part of the event. I had not modeled or done any work in fashion professionally since I was a teenager, and did not expect that might be part of my journey again. And at the time, I weighed about 80 pounds more than I do now. And I had done plus size modeling in the past. It was interesting, and it was very tough on me as a person. And I got a lot of great experiences, and I learned a lot about myself when I was a teenager, and I learned that I didn't like being in the fashion industry because it was too much pressure. And I was told that I was wrong all the time. When I had the chance to be on the runway again without any pressure of how my body might look, or how I might or might not be able to walk a certain way, it was very freeing and gave me so much confidence that I loved it, and I wanted to come back again and be part of the organization the next year when I had, through some life changes, not because of fashion, but changed to a different size that allowed me to wear a lot of different outfits that I couldn't wear before I lost the weight. So I got to celebrate that. I believe Fashion is for Everybody has given me confidence that I would not have otherwise had at very difficult times in my life. And I thank Alicia and Clint and the entire team of volunteers for putting this event on and helping me personally.
I think when you find your clothes, you find your voice. You really do. You figure out how to tell people, hey, this is who I am when you walk in the room. And for people with disabilities, especially a lot of people with CP, cerebral palsy, which is what I have, they are nonverbal, so fashion is their only language when they are in public. And don't you want to be treated well? When I was dressing like a slob, people assumed because I was in a chair that I was mentally handicapped as well, and they wouldn't talk to me. They'd talk to my friends or my husband or whatever, but they wouldn't talk to me, and I'd be like, okay, this is not good, because I want people to be able to think that I am approachable. It's not really about loving yourself as much as it is about having a firm foundation of who you are and extending that out to other people. And one of the other unintended consequences of what we're doing is the designers we work with, they end up with a whole new appreciation of how to work with different body shapes. And we have had several designers extend their sizes because of what we do. So we're trying to slowly build some more variety and a bigger spectrum into this area, into local fashion. And one of our other programs is an Adaptive Pattern Clothing Award, which we give out once a year, okay? And it's named after one of our models, Kimmy Jones. Kimmy had muscular dystrophy, so she was not a wheelchair, she was wheelchair dependent. And she was a central figure in what we did for the first year of the show and moving forward. She sadly passed away 2 years ago, and the way that we honor her is once a year we give a designer an award that enables them to create an adaptive clothing pattern for someone in a wheelchair or with another disability. And what this is they keep this pattern on hand, and it can be sized up or down and made to order. So anyone with a disability can walk in there and order a piece of clothing locally that will fit them.
Tell me about your designers. How do you make these relationships? Where are they on the planet? What do they do with you?
They are in Nashville, I'm proud to say, all of them so far.
Cool.
So far we've used all local designers, and they're people that I have met through my blogging, through going to Nashville Fashion Week, through just, I like creative people because I'm a creative person too. So we've just kind of become this community of friends, and it's important to me that we try and keep this as local as possible, because when you spend money locally, 51 cents of your dollar stays local. And that's a good thing for all of us. At this point, there's a waiting list of people to show with us. So I'm very excited about that.
That's a happy problem to have.
It is a happy problem to have. And they're all local. I'm not opposed to bringing in some designers from other places, but so far, Nashville is such a fertile environment right now for fashion that I'm not lacking in resources.
My name is Eric Bornhop, Eric Adler, Bornhop of Eric Adler Clothing, and I'm connected with the organization. Since its inception, really, I've been a huge supporter of their mission, and just became friends with Alicia, and we really connected on the whole concept behind Fashion is for Everybody. Designing something for one person is always going to be different than designing for designing something for someone else. And it starts down with little changes in things like your shoulder slope. Some people have block shoulders, some people have more sloping shoulders, and so as you get into further in the range of needs and such, it comes, drastically more and more. So for example, if I was designing for someone in a wheelchair, you have to think about things that you're not always thinking about, like pants riding down the back. You add extra to the seat and you extend that slope and you make it, you wouldn't necessarily need pockets and things like that. Alicia connected me with a guy he's a really cool guy. He's in a wheelchair after being in a motorcycle accident, you know, and so it was a really awesome opportunity to get to meet him, and I created a pair of jeans for him, and what the goal was, he wanted to dress up a little bit for his girlfriend and also be able to wear up to the office. So it was a pair of black jeans, and they're just really classic and clean, and it was a really rewarding experience.
The way that we work is we work backwards from most shows. We get our models first because we have to take measurements, and we have to make sure that everybody is well represented and all their information is correct. And then I find the designer and I say, here, fit these measurements. And that's a real challenge for them. So they get to take this, you know, these measurements, which are the tailoring part of it, and turn it into an art. Additionally, designers have gotten very creative in dressing people who are wheelchair dependent because it's harder for them to get in and out of certain clothes. Sure. Especially, we have 3 minutes to change, and it's a madhouse to change. So we've had things like wrap skirts and pants that have hooks for your thumbs in the back to pull up quickly. They really step out of their comfort zone, out of what they have learned, and they come up with innovative ideas and innovative ways to dress people that they wouldn't normally dress. And these ideas stay with them.
I'm sure.
Most people think, I can't wear designer clothing.
It's elitist. Or
This is designer clothing right here.
And it's local, I think.
It's local. It went down the runway. It's a beautiful piece.
Who is this?
This is A Lady of the Lake.
Tell me what it's like to have your hair done and your makeup done, and you are the center of attention in a beautiful piece of clothing with all eyes on you going down a runway. What does that feel like?
It is an experience that is almost hard to describe. Having your hair and makeup done and having beautiful clothes makes you kind of have to focus on yourself.
Not all of us are comfortable doing that.
No, a lot of people are not, but when they see this is an iteration of yourself you wouldn't normally see, it's attention being paid to you. And when you go down that runway and there are 230 pairs of eyes on you, and 30 photographers, and film crews, and you don't even notice them because you're so in the moment. You're so in the moment of just showing the world that you belong there. That's the best I can do in describing it. Now, once you get in the back, it feels like Beirut, but that's a different story.
My name is Clint Seary, and I am the Assistant Director of Fashion is for Everybody, and I also act as a Director of Photography and Video for our shows. Photography is something I started doing a long time ago when Alicia was originally a fashion blogger here in Nashville, and I got roped into, hey, call all your photographer friends to come shoot this show, and that's just where that's gone from there, you know. A lot of the people we've worked with have been kind of pushed to the side. It's never about them. They're in the background all the time. Well, this one, we bring them out front and say, this is about you right now, you know. And I have to say, when we first started doing this, I like the photography aspect of it, but I wasn't really a fashion guy. I'm like, well, fashion's superficial, it's pretty clothes, you know, how can it be that important? But once you see how it has changed people, and you start to understand that when you walk into a room, you know, when you walk into a room and somebody's already sitting in that room, that's your first statement you're making is, is this a meeting I'm having with someone? If so, do I appreciate them enough to make this kind of an impression on them? Am I trying to have the upper hand on how I dress? Am I trying to dress down? You know, it's a conversation that's going on. So you start to realize the power that can have.
My name is Kendall Parker, and I am an executive assistant and also a board member. Fashion is such a big language, and I'm a very shy person normally when it comes to people I don't know. So the way I express myself is with what I wear, because I know that if I'm having an off day, I can use my fashion to express my personality. I recently did my first photo shoot with Fashion is for Everybody, and I'm not usually super comfortable in front of the camera. But it was super fun. We did it with Any Old Iron. Our photographer was Jen Stalvey, who was also on our board. And then once I kind of became comfortable and saw myself like in the pictures, it was really cool, and I had fun, and they're playing music, and we were dancing and laughing, and it was just empowering with two women in a photo shoot. So different, but it still meshed together beautifully, and now in front of the camera, I'm like, oh, okay. What shot you want?
We do 4 photo shoots a year, and we do them with models of different ages, different sizes, different abilities. We pick 2 or 3 models that cover a spectrum and 1 designer, and we have a pro shoot just like any other editorial shoot. They get their hair done, their makeup done, we rent a studio, we get a photographer, and we get a designer to showcase their fashions on these models.
It's the day of the runway show. What is that timeline? What do you do all that day? Who all is there?
That is the longest day of the year. It's at least a 12-hour to 14-hour day. Models begin arriving at noon. Hair and makeup people are already waiting, and it takes probably, we usually have about 6 of each hair and makeup. Models come in on a staggered schedule to have their hair and makeup done. We break for lunch, the lights are put up, volunteers start coming in, and we have probably 50 volunteers.
Wow.
That are involved in this in various capacities, whether it be back of house, fitters, or stylists, or light people, or ushers, or front of house ticket takers, lots and lots and lots of people. Then we have a run through and lunch, and then we wait for the crowd to come in, and then we kind of go. So I think there's about 100 people involved in each show. And everyone gives their own time for free. And the designers, I would like to say, do not get paid to participate. So they are creating all of these things out of their own pocket, and because they love it.
How many models roughly would be in your runway show, would you say?
Last year we had 36.
Oh my goodness.
We really vary things. We shake things up on the runway. And as far as I know, we're the only ones that do that. Because some shows are either exclusively one minority demographic, or they throw in one model here, one model there, that, represents that particular niche. We think the world is not segregated, so our runway isn't either. And we really want to fight this trend of self-segregation, of living in bubbles, of socializing in bubbles. We want people to be able to interact with each other, because you're never going to care about somebody else unless you get to talk to them and know them. And that really is what this is all about.
My name is Amy Burnett, and I'm connected with this organization because Alicia is one of my friends, and she asked me if I would like to be a model. I've had a very huge athletic career. I started out wheelchair basketball, won a national championship title, decided to retire from being on top. I've played tennis for several years now, and I actually teach wheelchair tennis. I'm a certified instructor. Everything I own is something that I could wear all day, like wear to the gym and then hang out in it for the rest of the day. And to have Alicia come over and go through my closet and point out what's good for me and what's not good for me and why and what colors, and it kind of gave me an eye-opening experience as to why I don't look good in this outfit. And when I put on what she says, this is actually what makes you look really well, it fits you very well, then I can actually see that in a mirror and understand what she meant when she said it. And so I think is important to me now, just because I want people to see me as a professional, not just somebody that came straight from the gym. The day of the show is super exciting. Your friends are there, your family are there. After you're all dolled up and you get to go down a runway and you feel like $1 million, then everybody treats you like you are as well. So it's a very, very cool feeling to get to be a part of it. There's just such a huge, vast variety of the participants on the runway show, and getting to see everybody there come together as a group to celebrate fashion, not just celebrate a disabled person or a fit model, but they're celebrating us as a whole.
My name is Emily Robbins, and I'm connected with Fashion is for Everybody through an open call, actually. It started small, and Fashion is for Everybody is what kicked off my career, so honestly I have them to thank for everything. It's been exciting. Coming into it, you start out, you're doing your practice and your walks, and you have so much fun with everybody. It's like a big family. So from the beginning, you're involved. You're not left out. There's no, you need to be here and you're going to stay here. It's, let's see what works best as a team and as a family. So you just walk away feeling wholesome and like you want to be a part of it. You get to watch these young women and these young men that would never have the opportunity to have the experience to roll across the stage, regardless, walk across the stage, hobble, I don't care. It's about the inclusiveness, and it's just, you can feel it in the room. Everyone just gravitates towards Alicia, and they feel so welcome and loved. And it's really, I'm so blessed and so honored that that was my first fashion show. So for me, instead of going in and having all these demands shouted at me and how I have to be, it was, I want you to be happy. I want you to go out there and I want you to have a good time. I want you to show who you genuinely are and be proud of it. And that was the biggest thing for me, is it set me up for greatness. When someone's asked, what does a model look like? You have to think for a second. Before it was, she has to be 6 foot and a 00, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's beautiful in their own way. But now there's room at the table. There's a table because of Fashion is for Everybody.
Tell me about the name of your organization. Now, if I say it quickly, Fashion is for Everybody, then I'm missing a big part of the name. Tell me about Fashion is for Everybody.
That name is very deliberately chosen. It's not everyone or everybody, or it is everybody, because we want to make sure that that name gives you a clear message that we don't care what size you are. We have models that go from 00 to 28. That's a big size range, because petite girls, small girls, have just as much, if not more, trouble finding clothes than larger girls. And by the way, the fashion industry says I am a plus size girl at size 8.
Crazy.
It's anything above a 4 is plus size.
That's insane.
So we want to make sure that people understand that when we mean everybody, we literally mean everybody. Now that doesn't mean everyone that tries out gets to participate, because obviously we have a finite number of spots. And some people are not suited, but it's not because of their body type. It's got nothing to do with that.
Nice. What could someone watching us chat right now, who I'm certain is inspired to get involved with Fashion is for Everybody, what can they do to further your endeavors?
Well, I would really invite them to, first of all, take a look at the website, which is fashionisforeverybody.com, one long word spelled out. And take a look at some of the runway shots that we've done and the photo shoots that we've done. And there's video of interviews and video of runway segments. And they can kind of get a good sense of what this is like. And if they'd like to volunteer their time, we certainly are always looking for good volunteers. If they'd like to just, send me a congrats, girl, keep going, encouragement.
That's good too.
Yeah, sometimes, some days
Yes.
encouragement is good, because as you know, nonprofit work involves a lot of behind the scenes paperwork and structure and stuff, and this is all stuff that I'm learning now, and I do get lots of help because I am disabled and over 21, a little bit. I can be slow. I have trouble typing. I have limitations. I don't like them, and I don't admit them often, but I have them. So I do appreciate the help that I can get, and I have a little. It's good help, but I need more.
It's good to know.
Yeah, I can use more.
Alicia, we have come to my absolute favorite part of the episode. It is the speed round of questions.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
I'm just springing it on you right here. It's just like the game we would have played if you and I had been friends when we were 10 years old, where I ask you a question, and the first answer that comes to your mind, let it fly, and we'll go on to the next one.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's
okay.
fair.
Speed round. Ready. With Alicia Seary. Name 3 things fashion can tell people about you.
My boldness, my eccentricity, and my fieriness.
I like all of those. What's the coolest thing you've ever seen on the runway?
That's easy. The 15-foot sequin train I got to wear on the runway.
Will I get to see this, maybe?
Maybe. It's on the website.
Okay. I will
It was
go
very terrifying, let me tell you.
15-foot sequin train.
Yes, 15 foot, it weighed a ton.
Name 3 jobs a person could pursue in the fashion industry.
You could be a designer, you could be a stylist, or you could be a tailor.
Nice. Is there any reason a person with different mobility could not have any of those jobs?
No. You just have to have the skills, and the skill is not about your mobility.
What mark do you want Fashion is for Everybody to make on the world?
I want Fashion is for Everybody to truly transform lives with fashion. That's why that's part of our mission statement. I want people to feel good about themselves. I want designers to open their eyes and their world, and it will open their own wallets. And I want really nice clothes to wear for the rest of my life.
I want that too. And my last question, super easy. What is your website?
Website is fashionisforeverybody.com.
Thank you so much, my friend.
My pleasure.
My pleasure too.
It's our Nashville.